What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. Right now, Cinemacon is happening and Warner Brothers just had their panel where they talked DC's Superman, including showing a sneak peek to it that was exclusive to Cinemacon, meaning they did not release this to the public, but we do have a description of what they showed. They also did show yet another test screening for Superman a few days ago. We'll talk about that. And Time just released a huge article about Superman and David Corenswet, the actor who, of course, plays Clark Kent, aka Superman. We also have a giant cameo leak, but we'll talk about that at the end, and we'll give you a spoiler warning before we talk about it for those who don't want to be spoiled. So first, let's talk about Cinemacon. The cast came out with James Gunn. They talked a lot about filming, and James Gunn teased some new things that are coming. For example, he teased pocket universes, sorcery, flying dogs, of course, obviously with Krypto, but dogs plural, so maybe there's more, and Max Fleischer cartoons. And we'll get into more about what the cast and James Gunn said in just a bit. But first, let's talk about the footage that was shown. We have a first-hand account thanks to Jasmine, who many of you have met on the channel in our live streams. She was there giving us all the info that we need. So the scene opens up pretty much the same as we have seen in the trailers. Superman crashes into the ground. He spits out blood. He's breathing very heavily. He's clearly very hurt, and he calls for Krypto. But when Krypto gets there, he starts to kind of play with Superman. He's very happy. He's kind of acting like a normal dog. However, it is a super dog. So when he jumps on Superman, he hurts him even more because he's just a happy dog trying to play with his owner. But eventually Superman gets him to calm down. He hands him his cape and says, "Home," in which Krypto does drag him to the Fortress of Solitude. As Krypto comedically drags Superman around the frozen tundra, a crystal structure grows in the distance. We then see the crystals coming out of the ground, and according to Jasmine, it comes out very beautifully. As the structure comes up, it creates two doors that glow with Superman's logo on it, officially revealing the Fortress of Solitude. Once he's there, his robots or automatons greet him, and they quickly rush him to a healing chamber. And you hear them say that he needs a certain amount of yellow sun, which of course Superman absorbs radiation from the sun, which gives him strength and power. To do this, to heal him with the yellow sun, they open multiple doors throughout the Fortress of Solitude to let the sunlight in. On top of it all, they have magnifying glasses to help magnify and direct the sun directly to Superman. But what's really interesting is the robots have to hold Superman down because he has broken bones and they are mending, so it's hurting him very much. So as he's kind of convulsing on the table, the robots have to hold him down. Then here's a kind of interesting part. They show Superman thanking the robots, but the robots say, "There's no need to thank us. We are not sentient beings. We don't have sentience." The reason this is so interesting is because we have seen in the trailer one of the robots getting attacked and almost destroyed, and Superman is holding the robot like it is a sentient being, like it does have feelings, like it feels pain and has a consciousness. So perhaps they get an upgrade along the way. There was also a new scene with Lois interviewing what appeared to be Superman because he was in the Superman outfit. From what we've heard, there's not too much context given for the scene, so it makes people wonder, is she actually interviewing Superman, or is he just there and Clark is pretending to be Superman to help her prepare for a big interview? However, recently we did get some merch leaks that had quotes from Superman on there, which would lead us to believe that she does eventually interview Superman at some point in time during the film. Either that, or he tells her that at home and gives her permission to run an article about it. The new footage ends with Krypto wanting to play once again with Superman now that he's better. And James Gunn actually shared a pretty cool story from his actual life that is the reason why they put this very specific scene in here. And I'll explain what he said. But first, I want to tell you all about a new official DC game, DC Dark Legion, now available on iOS and Google Play for mobile and on PC via their official website. In this game, you set out to save Gotham City from the Dark Multiverse, a story which is adapted from Scott Snyder's Dark Knight's Metal series. Through your epic journey, you will see iconic DC Universe locations from Metropolis to Arkham Asylum in Gotham. And you can play a vast array of original DC superheroes and supervillains such as Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Joker, over 50 playable characters. And one epic thing is that Roger Craig Smith, who voiced Batman in Batman Arkham Origins, once again lends his voice to Batman and the Batman Who Laughs. And the champions look beautiful. The art style is amazing. And the features for this game are fantastic. One is that it's idle and simple. It's got a very clear, intuitive UI, and you can earn rewards while you're idle. 2, it's got RPG and simulation elements. You can collect and train DC champions, customize your Batcave, and build shelters to save civilians. And 3, it's a new home base for DC fans. Not only can you fight alongside others, but you can also engage in PvP with players from around the world. Just click the link in my description and use my gift code DCDL999, which is valid for 6 months, and you will get plenty of resources and 3 hero pools called World Anvil Fragment. If you are a DC and superhero fan, this game is the perfect game for you. So click that link in the description and use my gift code DCDL999. James Gunn explained to Cinemacon that after he lost his previous dog, who was always by his side, that went to the studio with him and everybody loved, he went to go get a new dog. So he went to a rescue organization where they just rescued like 60 plus dogs, and they were all just kind of there. They were all piled together, but one dog really stood out to him because he looked like his old dog, but he looked crazy. And now that's his dog, Ozu. And he said Ozu never knew humans, so he was just a terror. He destroyed everything. James Gunn literally said he was terrible. He ate an $8,000 laptop that James Gunn just got, and he would bite James Gunn's bare feet all the time. And James said that he would literally sit on his kitchen counter cross-legged, but the dog would jump on the counter and still manage to bite him. And he said, if this dog had superpowers, we'd be effed. And that's where he got inspiration for Krypto in Superman, particularly this final scene they showed at Cinemacon where Superman is trying to leave, but Krypto starts biting his feet. And the trailer basically ends there as he's about to leave, implying that Krypto might be going with him. And that's pretty much it for what we saw. We're told the audience laughed a lot and hard. They said, oh my gosh, a lot. And there were some ahs in there as well. Overall, the audience loved what they saw. And like I mentioned, recently there was a test screening, another one, a new one for Superman that happened a few days ago. And insider Daniel RPK has said that he heard people loved it, which is great news. So when we first got the original test screening reports for Superman, they weren't that good. In fact, some people even heard that it was called terrible. But as more screenings went on, the reviews, the reported reviews, got a lot better. And now we're hearing that people love it. Now keep in mind, not everybody is going to feel the same way. So one person might think it's terrible, but that person might be the outlier. If it's 1 out of 100 people saying it's bad, then it's a great movie. But the opposite can be true as well. But luckily, most of what we've been hearing lately is great. Now, before we dive into that secret cameo that was revealed, let's talk about this article on Superman by Time. Now, what's interesting is that the article does mention that the genre of superheroes is struggling, and Warner Brothers as well, and that Warner Bros have placed their hopes on James Gunn's Superman reboot. Once again, confirming what we've been hearing this whole entire time. There's a lot riding on this movie. In the article, it's revealed that James Gunn offered David Corenswet the role on one condition. He noted that with Chris Pratt and John Cena, quote, they treated everyone with kindness and respect, end quote, and that was non-negotiable, that Corenswet did the same. And James Gunn said to Time in an interview, when referring to David Corenswet, he said, he is Superman, even in his nerdiness. He listens to old jazz standards. Like, that's what he listens to just as a normal procedure. Like Superman, he's a simple man in complicated times. And the article goes on to say that he exudes a self-seriousness that's appropriate to the Boy Scout superhero. And James Gunn says that David Corenswet, who's playing Superman, was a pain in the butt because he asks a ton of questions about every single little moment. But James Gunn also said, but I honestly think my favorite moments were when I would get irritated by his endless questions and indulge him anyway, and then I'd see him turn those questions into something magical in his performance. And James Gunn lets us in on a little bit of the state of mind of Superman and a little bit about kind of the beginning of the movie. He says he is starting to become successful at both jobs in the big glitzy city so far away from home. He's madly in love with a woman who isn't so sure about him, and he's made a few superhuman friends who like him but think of him as naive. All these elements in his life have unbalanced him a bit, and as he's tottering, we are going to see where he lands in terms of his values and choices. And that sounds really awesome, in all honesty. Now, real quick spoiler warning, we're going to talk about that surprise cameo that's been revealed reportedly in 3, 2, 1. We have heard that Bradley Cooper is going to be playing Jor-El, Superman or Kal-El's real father. Bradley Cooper, of course, has worked very closely with James Gunn through the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy because he voiced Rocket Raccoon. So this does make a lot of sense. James Gunn likes the actors who he works with, so he keeps them around. And he did say that he is going to bring some Marvel actors over to DC. Now, this was reported by the insider viewer Anon, who has been right about scoops before. So although this is not confirmed, it definitely seems like this could be the reality of it. So go ahead and let me know what you think about that surprise cameo and that casting choice, but also of the description of the footage that was shown at Cinemacon for Superman. And let me know, are you excited for this movie or not? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so don't miss out on any of the latest DCU news, rumors, or leaks. And you can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.